Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today we have two desperately different stories of sightings of paranormal entities. One of the Men in Black, but this time these entities were, thin and bony looking, and another account with a Dogman encounter that's very strange. Either way, we'll read the first article. Tall, bony men in gray visit UFO experiencer in British Columbia and hear exactly what was witnessed by the experiencer. So, let's start off with this brief blurb from the full story before we read the entire account. They stood at least 6 feet tall, appeared very bony, and had heads, hands, and feet that were disproportionate to the rest of their bodies. They wore gray suits that looked oily, along with black ties and hats, and wraparound sunglasses that they never removed. This story comes from Burnaby, British Columbia, Canada, January 2001, daytime. Either way, let's get into the full account. Two peculiar strangers visited the witness who had a prior encounter after a UFO sighting. These visitors were notably different from the others. They stood at least 6 feet tall, appeared very bony, and had heads, hands, and feet that were disproportionate to the rest of their bodies. They wore gray suits that looked oily, along with black ties and hats, and wraparound sunglasses that they never removed. When questioned about the glasses, they remarked that they could see perfectly well. Their ears protruded from their heads, their skin was pale white, and their fingernails were gray. They never took off their hats during the visit. Throughout the encounter, only one of them spoke. When asked for identification, they displayed silver cases that contained a photo, an unusual symbol, and their names in small print. Altogether, folks, very bizarre. They sound more like cadaverous walking corpses rather than men. Or even maybe tall gray aliens here, folks, but they certainly had more human features than what's been described of such beings. Either way, continuing with the article, upon entering the kitchen, they asked the witness to please unplug the microwave and also instructed him to turn off the computer. The two Persian cats were going crazy, dashing around the room, trying to get out of the closed window. Each man carried a briefcase with an inverted L-shaped handle. The man who did all the talking asked to see the witness's unusual watch. He then pulled 4 small containers from his briefcase, each with a different colored top. After opening 2, he proceeded to pour the contents over the watch. He assured the concerned witness that no harm would come to it. He received $250 for the watch and was told that they would give him the rest later. He mentioned that he was moving soon, to which they replied, "We know. Don't worry, we can find you if we want to." So a very strange account, folks, but we're not nearly through the entire thing. But what were these entities? Were they really Men in Black? We've read before, folks, that the Men in Black can basically, and have been known to wear clothes that are different from the typical attire. Here, they really do sound like typical Men in Black, except they were wearing gray suits. They could have appeared basically in military dress, and they'd probably give off the same air of bizarreness, right, folks? Either way, truly bizarre. But let's finish off this article and then move on to the next story, because it's incredibly bizarre as well. They departed without the common courtesies, staring blankly at the witness as he extended his hand. Once again, the witness hurried to the bedroom window, only to find, as before, no sign of either man leaving, nor could he hear any vehicle depart. After the visit, the witness felt drained, suffered a severe headache that lasted for 2 days, and developed a rash on his arms, face, and chest. The source of the information for this story comes from Graham Conway, UFO BC, and Albert S. Roselius. Both men should basically be thanked for basically telling people about this particular bizarre account that gives a little more information on the MIB phenomena and how it relates to the phenomena of people experiencing and seeing UFOs. These beings were there for clearly the reason to basically question this man over it, but it also seems that they seemingly drained this man of some sort of energy, vital energy from his body. At least that's the feeling I get, folks. So were these actually some sort of alien beings or just some sort of vampire-like beings? I don't know. They certainly give that air of, bizarreness about them, doesn't it, folks? Either way, I have to say, that would have been a terrifying account for anyone to actually experience. Folks. Either way, a truly bizarre account, but let's move on to the next story. Spotlight carrying werewolf seen along railroad tracks near Henderson, Nevada. In this account, the witness sees some tall, hairy being out in the woods near his property. It was carrying a lamp. but he describes it as looking like a werewolf. To me, it sounds like this being could possibly have been a Bigfoot, but the fact that it was carrying a tool, which is a notable difference from most people who experience encounters with Bigfoot or Dogman, is basically carrying into the story, makes me think that this entity was something else, perhaps maybe an alien being searching for something, but that's just me, folks. It was looking for something, but we don't know what it is. But before we read the full account, let's get into this brief blurb from it. I saw that they were looking at something with a spotlight, like trying to find it or whatever. Then I saw it. The first thing that popped into my head was werewolf. Let's read the full account now and hear exactly what this guy saw. Hi, Lon. I'm from Henderson, Nevada. I live in a subdivision in Henderson, and there are railroad tracks in the back of my house. I have someone living on each side, and I have someone at the front. So on each side, I'm near the railroad tracks, right up to my backyard. So we do often have people walking along there. When something does happen, there's never cops on both sides zooming in with their lights and sirens. So I was being my usual nosy self and wondering what was going on. So I'm looking over my wall. I got a little step ladder. I saw that they were looking at something with a spotlight, like trying to find it or whatever. Then I saw it. The first thing that popped in my head was werewolf. Now, I don't know what an actual werewolf would look like, but that's what popped into my head. Either way, what was this being, folks? Could it have been maybe a Dogman or maybe even, alien Bigfoot? I'm thinking it might have been maybe a so-called alien Bigfoot because this entity, whatever it was clearly intelligent, far more intelligent than some, animal or other just finding a lamp and just, playing with it like it was some sort of children's toy. No, it sounded like this being was looking for something and it was on a mission. Whatever that was, I don't know. Do you suppose that maybe in this area that maybe a UFO went down and maybe there was some debris that this entity was looking for? I don't know. I'm only saying that this could possibly be an alien Bigfoot because it was large and hairy. It could very well have been a Dogman as well, folks, but we just don't know for sure. All we know is that this being was, very hairy and large, and that sounds exactly how most people describe seeing Bigfoot-like entities on UFOs sometimes. So, I'm thinking that that is exactly what this was. Unless it actually was a Bigfoot playing with a lantern, but I just don't believe that, folks. I think that this entity was looking for something. It could basically have been looking for a piece of alien debris or something that had been left in the area by a mistake. Or maybe this guy made some sort of mistake. Either way, let's finish off this article and then we can talk about this article and the other one a little bit more. Immediately, I grabbed my cat and put her inside. I don't want to say I threw it, but I put the cat inside, went back out, and I saw the spotlight going back and forth, and this thing, it was like I hunched back, kind of like a chupacabra would be, but hunched over. But when I looked, the first thing that came into my mind was werewolf. I never heard about it either. Whatever happened, they went away and nothing was in the newspaper. Obviously, they're not going to say a werewolf was found in Henderson. I don't think. So, whatever this was, this entity was looking for something. What it was looking for, as I said, folks, we have, theories. Maybe it was looking for a piece of debris. Maybe it was looking for a person. Maybe an escaped alien. But like in the first account, folks, this being really was bizarre, and their real intentions couldn't be surmised, because like in the account with the possible men in black, these entities were asking questions about the UFO encounter that the witness had, but they also seemingly were draining him of energy, almost like psychic vampires. In this account with the werewolf, it was looking for something. As I said, whatever it was looking for, apparently maybe it wanted to be witnessed, as I said, because it was doing so with basically a big spotlight. So like in the first account with the two men in black, they looked very bizarre, but also, as the witness could see, they just gave off this eerie feeling. So maybe this Dogman wasn't looking for anyone. He wanted someone to witness it, perhaps. I just can't basically be for sure. Either way, I would love to know if the witness had any, feelings of being drained after the encounter or not. He didn't mention it, folks, but maybe it did. Either way, another bizarre account, folks, and well worth, learning about both of them indeed. But we're at the end, folks, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell. That will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.